Picks report now only 29 days away. The first show slated for Friday, August 29th, 10:30, right here on KUSI. The man synonymous with Oceanside football, the man synonymous with championship football, like 12 section titles, 2 state titles, 224 career wins, 70 losses, and perhaps the most important stat, thousands of lives influenced. Mr. John Carroll, our very first 5 p.m. sports guest. Mr. Carroll, thank you very much for stopping by KUSI.
Oh, what an honor, what a privilege, and as always, you guys are outstanding. Do a great job for kids in high school sports.
I appreciate that, Coach. Coming from you, that means a lot. Let's start with you. Grave health scare just a season ago. How are you feeling? I assume it's good to be back on the sidelines, huh?
Oh, I can't wait. Looking at that picture right there, that's not fun. The press box is pretty boring. Need to be on the field.
Well, I guess the reason why I wanted to have you here as our first guest is big news last week. Governor Jerry Brown making headlines last week, signing legislation that will reduce the amount of contact high school teams can have during the week, or during the practice week, during the season, and then pretty much eliminating what can go on during the offseason. What is your general reaction to the governor's intent here?
Wow. Politicians being politicians. I wish they would have spent a little bit more time talking to coaches. I think a lot of the rules are unnecessary. Nobody wants to have 90 minutes of live contact at any time. But the key for the safety of individual kids is to learn how to perfectly practice and perfectly perform safe tackling. And the only way that you do that, of course, is by properly supervised drill that teaches that perfect performance. And as a result, players are much safer because of it. The last thing we want to do is put kids in a situation where the only time that they are ever using their head in a live situation is on game day, and they haven't had a chance to perfect that performance. Now, that said, I've read over the governor's bill. I'll bet they make some changes to it prior to the enactment of it a year from now. It is not really restrictive for varsity football teams. Not many of us are live very much during the season. We're not. Once kids have learned how to tackle properly, really they need very little practice at it. However, to learn how to do it correctly requires supervised, proper drill and instruction, and at some point, full live repetition to give the result, which is the safe technique in tackling. That said, I think that what they kind of ruled that 90 minutes of live contact, nobody's doing that. That would be excessive.
So the law of unintended consequences, by trying to make it safer, I guess what I'm hearing you say is they're making it less safe.
Yeah, I think their mistake is limiting it to days and being more worried about minutes. It should be that we want to teach. This is not varsity specific. This is lower level kids who are just learning the game. They need to practice it so that they can develop safe habits. And we shouldn't be saying you do it 2 days a week. We should be saying you do it until you perfect it, till you know how to do it correctly. And at that point, then it can be limited.
All right, well, Coach, we're going to skip ahead here. Let's talk about Oceanside a little bit. I'm just looking at your schedule. You open up against St. Augustine, then it's Mission Viejo, Chaparral, San Pasqual, RBV, Mission Hills, Torrey Pines, LCC, Carlsbad, and El Camino in the regular season. Who made this schedule? And, I mean, what do you think, you're Notre Dame or something? What's going on?
Well, the Chargers were booked that week, so we couldn't get them. But, in all honesty, if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. And it's a lot more fun to play against a high-level opponent than it is to play against a low-level opponent. The challenge is 90% of it. Of course, you want to win a heck of a lot more than you want to lose, but at the same time, the fun is in the high-level competition.
How tough is it for you to get someone to agree to play Oceanside?
Very difficult, very difficult, and that's why our schedule is the way it is.
One of the big changes this year, in fact, you just came from the Hall of Champions. You talk about the CIF rule. They're now going to be involved in picking the 8 open division playoff teams. Yay or nay on that?
I like it. The idea now is that we have 24 teams that are grouped into Division I, and out of those 24 teams by a power ranking, a point-driven power ranking, then the top 8 teams will be seeded as the open division. I think it's the best way to develop a true open, the true best 8 teams in the county. That said, the 5th or 6th place team in the open division, probably would be a CIF champion in just about all the other divisions.
Well, before we let you go, we have to. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it was only 2012 that your quarterback, Tofi Papa, was being named the Silver Pigskin Player of the Year. Give us an update. Remind folks where he is and how is he doing.
Well, he went off to Florida International and found, like most people do, that Miami's another life. And he made a decision, and I totally support him in his decision that he's coming back. Here he's at Southwestern College, and he's going to go for his dream school, the school that he won't have to settle on. So good for Southwestern College. Coach Carberry there does a great job. I'm sure Tofi will do an outstanding job, and best wishes for him and his future success. And he's out at practice whenever he's around, and he's constantly pushing the kids to do harder. Great young man, I think headed to a great future.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for making history as the first sports guest in the 5 o'clock hour here at KUSI. Coach John Carroll, great coach, great mentor, and great guest.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
All right, good deal. Interesting interview.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, see you guys 6.
You
All
betcha.
right.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Stay with us.